Hi, we're the Wilts, Dale, Margaret, and James, and we, along with our pets, Marnie, B-Dog, Jericho, Loki, Caesar, and Gunner, are selling our rental property in Illinois, converting a schoolie, and finding out what happens when Wilts wander.
I'm driving down an empty freeway. No waiting for the light to change. I'm seeing the sunrise behind me.
Hey guys, sorry it's been a few days past when we were originally hoping to get this video up. As you can see from the first part of the video, Dale and I went on an adventure. And we went all the way to Florida. And we took 3 of the dogs with us. And we slept in our truck. We set up the bed of the truck with a topper and camped and we stayed at a couple campgrounds, but we also stayed at like national parks and stuff. We ended up spending only about $57 on lodging, so that's how we were able to afford to go without spending a ton of money. Most of our money was spent on gas, of course, because we took the Beast. So anyway, so we went down there to look at some property. The first few days were rough. So we just kind of drove down, looked around, got some ideas, kept our eyes open. Before we left, we really sat down and prayed. Most of you know it's Lent, and so we've really spent a lot of Lent focusing on prayer, and we have told, or asked, God, I should say asked, God, if He could point us in a direction or lead us in a direction so we know where He wants us to go. We always assumed we would go to Florida, but we realized we were kind of limiting ourselves to what we wanted and maybe not where God wanted us. So we started this trip and we tried to keep an open mind about it. There were a few times where things got rough. Like the first few days, we were originally supposed to meet a realtor down in Alabama. The night before, she let me know that she had a meeting early in the morning, that she didn't want to rush, so that she was going to have another one of her associates meet us and get us started. So we got to the office. We found out the original realtor had told her associate at 9 o'clock the night before that she was going to be taking us around to see properties, and did not tell her anything about what we were looking for. So we did spend about the first hour sitting in the office explaining to her kind of what we were looking for, and there were 2 very specific properties that we wanted to see. So she took us to the first property, and it was pretty wet, and we told her, we would park and just kind of walk back and take a look at things. And she's like, no, it's wet, but you guys should be fine. You have 4-wheel drive. We went ahead and headed back, and the beast, who has never been stuck, got stuck. Got stuck up, like the axle was on like packed mud, and then the tires were just spinning in the water, in the mud water, and it was just a hot mess. There's pictures of the beast after that in that video. So anyway, so we're like, are you serious? Like, we're stuck. Like, why would this happen? Maybe, is this God saying, hey, stay here on this property? Or is this him saying, you don't need to go any further here because this is not your spot? So the gentleman that came and pulled us out was a friend of the realtor's, and he ended up having 37 acres for sale. So we went over and we looked at it, and while it had everything that we were looking for, it had moving water, it had a place for a pond, it had pre-cleared areas where we could go ahead and get things started, it had wooded areas for hunting, which is what the gentleman used the property for. It was really far off of the main road, and as much as we liked the property, we were really concerned about people getting their buses and RVs and stuff like that back there, and plus being able to find it, which we found through our travels this past week. Finding a campsite in a national forest you have never been to at 11 o'clock at night is nearly impossible. So, we did do it, but we don't want people to start their vacations with us stressed. So while we liked it, we put it on the maybe list, and we talked to the lady who was showing us the properties, and she said, she was out there in flip-flops showing us wooded properties in Alabama, and anybody from the South knows that you don't walk around in flip-flops in Alabama, or anywhere in the South really, other than the beach. So she said, well, let me go home, tonight. I'll get some more properties together for you tomorrow, and I'll show you some more properties along with the second one that you wanted to see. So we decided to stay in town. We stayed at a campground. Took us about 2 hours to wash the truck, because down there in that town that we were in, they didn't have like a regular pressure spray car wash. It was just a hose that you had to hose your truck off with before you put it through the drive-through car wash. So that took about 2 hours of our day. So all in all, with the truck getting stuck, we lost about 3.5 hours that first day looking at properties. So later that day, she did try to show us another one, and she couldn't find it. So anyway, so she tells us that, she'll get some properties together for the next day. So the next day we meet her at the second property that I wanted to see, and the gate was locked. So she told us of another property down the street that used to be on the market that no longer was, but she was sure it was still for sale. So we went out there to see that one. While we were there, we came across a non-venomous black snake, 2 of them actually, and when I pointed those out to her, who she was also still in flip-flops, she shoved me towards the snakes and took off running. So we did go ahead and go see the other property we wanted to see, which was a no, and we decided we were done dealing with those realtors in that town, and we left. And on our way, we stopped at a property that was it was very cleared. It had pastures already. It was a smaller amount of property, but it was already cleared, and it had a lot of pastures. But it was right on the main road, and you could hear every vehicle that went by. And we thought, we really don't want people who are down here relaxing, and we don't want to listen to the traffic. So we put that on the maybe list, and we kept going. We went down through Florida some. And on our way through the top of Florida, I told Dale that there was one more property in Alabama that I had put on the list. I didn't know if he wanted to drive up and see it. It was about 45 minutes out of our way from where we were headed. So he said, yeah, it's only 45 minutes. Let's go ahead and go see it. So we went and saw it, and we spent about 5 minutes on the land before we felt that this was where we wanted to be. It had everything that we were looking for except the moving water, which it has a pond, so we're okay with that. It is just far enough off the path that you can't hear the traffic, but it's very easy to find. It's about a quarter mile off the main road, but with all the wooded area between and everything, it's just nice and quiet and peaceful. You wouldn't know that there was a main road there. And then about 20 minutes from there is a large city that has about 70,000 people, and it's also about 4 minutes from Florida. So we spent the rest of the day exploring the big city and seeing what it had, which has everything. And then we went back to the property and walked around some more. And it has a cleared space where we can get things started. It has a wooded area that we can use for hunting. It has a wooded area that's not so overgrown that it wouldn't take us very long to clear it, to put some of our tiny houses in that we're planning to do. It's just a perfect space. So we called the realtor, had a conversation with her. We got up the next morning and went to Florida to look at the properties down there, and we just felt like everything else that we looked at, it just wasn't it. We didn't have the same feeling. So we did take a day, took the dogs to the beach, as you saw. They have a little section of the beach in Panama City where you can take your dogs. We let them play in the water a little bit. There was a nasty storm coming in, so there was pretty bad waves, and there were these, I can't remember what they're called, but they're like jellyfish, but they're blue all over the beach. So we really had to be careful with the dogs. So it wasn't really the first introduction to the beach that we wanted to give the dogs, but they had a good time. We got some sun and some sand, and we sat out at one of the restaurants, I believe it was Margaritaville, and ate. They had excellent food and really good service. And then we called the realtor again and asked her if she could meet us on that property in Alabama. So she did. She answered all of our questions, and so we put in an offer. And I was going to do this update yesterday, but we're still waiting on a response. They responded with a counter offer, so we sent in a counter offer, so we're still waiting on that next response. So hopefully here in the next 24 to 48 hours we should know something. But that does mean also that we did lower the price on the property. Now that we know what we want to spend down there, we know what we need to make off the property to do what we need to do. So we have prayed that if this is where God wants us, that this will happen. So between now and we have a closing date in July, because we're hoping to get the building sold beforehand, so we don't have to take out a loan, because we don't really like doing loans. So yeah, that's where we're at with it. We still have about a week's worth of stuff to finish on the building, just little things, some trim work. We have some electrical boxes that we had to move. I think that's about it. We're pretty close. So we have a sink drain to switch out, just some little stuff that'll take us about a week. And then the Beast and Dale's work bus need a little bit of work, so that's about another week's worth of work. So then hopefully we will be being able to bust out the bus. So we're thinking, maybe part of the reason that the building hasn't sold yet is, oh, look at that beautiful baby. We are currently babysitting our beautiful granddaughter, Evelyn Penny. Can you see her there?
She is the perfect little angel.
Isn't her perfect? Look at that pretty Evelyn.
This is Evelyn Penny Tebby, and she's perfect.
So we think maybe part of the reason the building hasn't sold is God knows we're not quite ready to leave yet. We still have some stuff to get done, and rather than rushing us through it, so we'll see. So if you could some prayer requests. Again, pray for Holly, Dale's niece. She's really struggling. Doesn't look like the trial treatments have worked. So she's starting radiation and chemo, I believe, this week. And she's struggling. So if you could just pray for her family, her husband and her kids, and her mom and her sister and her other family and friends. Just send up prayers for comfort and for healing and for strength. I have another friend who's dealing with skin cancer. If you could pray for her. My stepdad's still struggling with his knee. And then pray that God shows us what He wants and where He wants us. So that's kind of where we're at with things. As soon as we hear something, once we share with the immediate family, we'll share on here. And hopefully I keep saying this, but really there's just not been that much to tape. I was going to do some live stuff while we were out of state, but I really don't like announcing when we're out of state anymore. I prefer to wait until we get back, just because of social media and stuff. So just for safety issues. So anyway, once we hear what's going on, I also encourage everybody to really pay attention to the news and the stuff that's going on, and just kind of think about preparedness for your family, just for the what ifs and just in cases. You guys stay safe. We love all of you. We really appreciate all the support. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button and the like on the thumbs up thing on the videos. We're trying to get these seen a little bit more, just so we can do more, so we can make some more videos and get some more info out there. So yeah, we love you guys and thank you.